Hi y'all, Derek from Distributed DBA here. Let's talk about automation for remote work. Okay, you can't really automate working remotely, but automation is all about efficiency and not wasting cycles on low-value tasks. To become efficient at remote work, you have to become a better communicator. So here are 3 tips for efficient communications. In computing, the CPU schedules tasks that must be completed. When a task is blocked on some other resource, like waiting for the disk, a context switch can occur. A context switch is basically the CPU switching to another task instead of waiting for the one task to complete. This enables the concept of multitasking. Like the CPU, it's almost guaranteed that you have many tasks to complete. It's also guaranteed that you will need to collaborate with others on those tasks and potentially become blocked. The number one rule for efficient communication is to plan ahead to avoid being blocked on any one task. Be ready to context switch while you wait for a response. Tip number 2. As is the case with many things, it's best to keep things simple. Reduce your message to a specific problem or statement and just enough detail to let the other person ask any clarifying questions. You may be tempted to write a lot of detail to prevent back and forth discussion. You may think you're adding clarity, but the reality is that you're probably going to end up confusing the person more. Or the person may just skim through the big blob of text that you provided and miss the information anyway. If the person you are writing to is not familiar with the context of what you're writing them, then that brings us to tip number 3. When working remotely, asynchronous communication via email or messaging software is the default form of communication. This can help remove a lot of synchronous communication, otherwise known as meetings. You probably hate meetings just as much as I do. However, there will be times that meetings are more efficient. Providing context to a problem that the other person is not familiar with, as mentioned above, may be one such example. Getting buy-in on a project is another. Keep your synchronous communications to a minimum, but it's inefficient to avoid them completely. And there we have it. Plan tasks ahead of time to avoid being blocked. Keep your message simple, and don't completely avoid meetings. If you follow those 3 tips, you will have efficient communication while working remotely.